Welcome everyone, I'm Colin Atkins from Mooloolaba Music and we're here today. I'm pretty excited to have Mark Watson from Roland here today, so welcome mate, good to see you up here.
Thanks mate, thank you.
I've got two incredible keyboards with me today. So we've got the Roland Fantom and the Roland Jupiter X over here, which are incredible flagships for Roland. I think Roland had so many flagships over the years, they've got a whole fleet of them now, haven't they?
We have, absolutely.
They're pretty good and they just keep getting better. They're innovative, creative guys and just amazing what they come up with. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into two different videos today. We're going to give you a bit of a rundown on the Fantom, just a real quick one on the Fantom, and you can always ask us questions later if you need to ask that. And then we'll give you a second one on the Jupiter X as well, which is an awesome keyboard in itself as well. So Mark, I hear you've had a bit with the R&D of this particular keyboard. Do you want to give us a bit of a run through on some of the main points, the summarised sort of points on what you find is really effective on these keys?
Yeah, absolutely, Colin. No problem at all. So, Fantom is Roland's flagship. So this is our best of everything in one amazing instrument, and it's something we don't like to call a workstation. It's more of a hub. It's more of something that is very modeless in design, so that we can create music, create patches, pull things together without having to do too much deep menu diving, and also being able to access sounds on the fly.
Yep,
so,
fantastic.
You know, create your music, edit stuff, and edit your sounds as well.
Very user friendly.
Very user friendly. Yeah. And regardless of the amazing quality of the hardware and plenty of I/Os on the back there, lots of integration, lots of ability to hook up to your computer, which I can talk about later on if you like. And then of course retro stuff like CV Gate as well. There's two there. CV Gate to hook up to your analog stuff, drum machines and modules, so that you can control that. And then of course plenty of audio outs. XLR and sub-outs in stereo, as well as amazing USB integration into things like Logic and Mainstage, which is very cool. 32 mono or 16 stereo tracks through the USB with the MIDI to Logic at 24-bit 192 kilohertz, so pristine quality.
Yeah, fantastic. And this particular model, the Fantom, comes in 3 different sizes, I understand. So you've got a 61 note, 76 note, and your full
88 note.
Fully 88 note with your Fantom keyboard.
The PHA50 keyboard?
PHA50, so
which is weighted keys,
touch,
but it's our top of the line weighted action, but it also has aftertouch as well. So it's similar to the RD2000, but it has aftertouch as well.
Yeah, that's a mean beast.
Yes, indeed. So the Fantom's got a collection of different engines, and it has been growing all the time with the updates as well. So we've just had a recent firmware update, but initially we had the Zencore engine, which is our new engine that is in a lot of our Zencore models, like the Jupiter, of course, and things like the RD88, and including the MC models and others. But the Zencore synth engine itself is a very, very powerful synth engine, which is a culmination of 50 years of all of our synthesis into one synthesis engine. So all of the different ways of analog and virtual analog and PCM and amazing ways of using that through the matrix. And then of course there's incredible new LFOs that are in Zencore as well, which are 16-step LFOs with multiple shapes. You can choose from 32 different shapes for each step that can be filters and amps and create these really weird rhythms and
it's incredible,
landscapes of sound. So. And then of course we've got the supernatural engines in here, which gives us modelling so that we can have roll-offs on your trumpet or different ways of expressing that instrument pertaining to all the different performance attributes for that instrument. And then we've got supernatural acoustic pianos, supernatural electric pianos. The V piano, I did mention that before, but that's unlimited polyphony. You can model and change the actual individual notes.
So no more running out of notes.
Not with the V piano, no.
That's exactly right.
No. And we've got the amazing vocoder in here, and then of course we've got, with the latest expansion, these new model expansions. So with the latest firmware update, I should say, model expansions giving us the Jupiter 8, Juno 106, JX8P and the JX3P.
Yep. And we'll go through that in a little bit.
Sure, absolutely.
Just getting back to the vocoder side, what can you do with the vocoder?
So the vocoder in Fantom is, you can select how many bands you're working with for the vocoder. So up to 32 bands. It's a stereo vocoder.
Yep.
And of course, I can vocode internally the sounds. I can use whatever synth engine, a Zencore engine, or one of the new model expansions. So I can vocode a Jupiter 8.
Yep.
And of course, put the microphone in the back, and we might even do a demonstration of that later. We'll see how we go. But I can also vocode an external carrier. So let's say, for example, I hook up a record player and play a bit of vinyl into the input. I can use that as a source. And I can vocode that vinyl live, and so any external live. So I can have external and internal vocoded. I can do it in stereo. It's really, really cool. So you can get the classic robot sounds, or you can get the full-on choir, or your grandmother's motorbike. Doesn't matter.
Yep. My grandmother's got one of those. Yep. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. So pretty much, it seems to be broken down into about 3 different sections here, from what I can see. So your mixing style panel. Is this correct? Do you want to give us a bit of a breakdown on how it's laid out?
So I think probably a really good way would be to show you is that when you first turn the Fantom on, you can see on screen, and I'm assuming we're on screen. Yep. So when you first turn the Fantom on, you can see on screen these squares here. These are called scenes. These patches, if you want to call patches, but these scenes. So when it comes from the factory, they're coloured. You can change the colours. So each one of these scenes is basically selecting all 16 layers that are available in Fantom. So you've got 16 layers that you can assign any one of the sound engines to, and they all have their own effects. Plus, there's an effect over the whole scene.
Sure.
And then you are being shown what layers are being used, and then you can mix them. So straight off the bat, let me just choose a sound. Now you can see I've got 6 layers playing there now. I can turn them off quickly like that and just hear one sound. Other sounds are added. And then of course I can mix them in and out like that too.
Sure.
So these initial orange scenes are those layers up to 16 of
whole
sound.
Scene,
And then
I like the fact that that's touch sensitive too, like the touch screens, I should say.
It's great.
It's awesome. You've got so many different ways to control these things now, which is fantastic.
It's great, and actually for editing the different sounds too, I can get in there and change the envelopes and things like that just by dragging them.
Big screen or everything, which is awesome.
Absolutely. So the yellow ones have sequence clips in them as well. So that's the cool thing about these scenes, is that you can have all of your sounds for one song, for example, organised, but then you can save your sequence in that scene as well. So for that song, it's there ready to go. Now the yellow ones just basically have clips of sequences that you can play that are ready to go. And if I push the pattern mode, you can see the clips happening there on screen. So they can be all recorded, and I'll give you a demonstration of that in a minute, but you can actually play the individual clips just like that.
Oh, wow.
So you can audition them, and of course if I want to, I can assign them to the pads and then trigger the clips from here. In rows or just individual clips, either or. This is really cool. And then the purple ones or the blue ones, these are the complete songs. So they've had the clips all arranged, which we do in song mode and group mode. And if I select a song, let me go to here and select this one's a cool one. So now this is just a whole song being played, and you can see the patterns happening there.
Yeah.
And it's now going from row to row with the arrangements. And of course, if I find a sound, you can jam over the top.
Awesome. That's incredible. Yeah.
These different ways of being able to create your song and just have it all there in one scene is really, really cool. Really, really great way to be creative. And if you're gigging live, for example, which as we are starting to gig live again, people are starting to get out there
which
again,
is great,
fantastic. You can save your sets, save your songs, and have them ready all to go with your sounds, just with one button push.
Fantastic.
And then, sorry, Colin?
No, I was just going to say, and so basically you've got your scene set up. What else have you got here? Just your normal timbre setup, your...
So on this side, this is basically your synth editing section. So let's have a quick look. If I just go back to single tone play, so this scene here is just set up with one layer ready to go. So it's just a great way to actually
quick and
audition
easy,
one sound, no effects, no other layers, all set up. And actually, if you wanted to, you can go through the different categories here. And that's an easy way to find your sounds as well too.
Straightforward.
Push it forward and find your different sounds, and they all come up there on the list. So let's go and choose one of the new models that I've installed, for example, as an example. And these just came out the other week, and these are the Jupiter 8, the Juno 106, the JX8P, and the SH101 that you can now have inside your Fantom.
Yep. So basically, just to go over that a little bit. So you basically installed using one of the add-ins, etc., and downloaded the actual model of pretty much the old Jupiter 8s and all those different types of things. Is there a lot of those? How many of those are available? They're endless. And
at the moment, for Fantom, we've just released 4 models that are available for Fantom.
Yep.
And these are different to the Zen Core engine, but they can be loaded into the Fantom as their own entity, the model expansions. And they're different, of course, to the other engines that are available in Fantom as well.
And we were talking beforehand in regards to being able to create sounds and transfer them across to some of your other keyboards, etc., some of the other Roland keyboards. Is that correct?
That's correct. So anything that's got Zen Core in it now, the new Zen Core range, so that includes the Fantoms, the Jupiters, the RD88, which is a great little stage piano.
Yep. Excellent.
The Axe Edge, which has got the firmware update that will do this, the MC101, the MC707, and of course the new MV1 as well, the Verse Lab. So they all have the Zen Core engine inside them. So if I design a Zen Core synth patch, I can export it from Fantom and put it into the Jupiter, or I can put it into the Axe Edge, and they'll all sound exactly the same. Of course, there's different ways of putting them together, like with different effects and layers, etc. Some have, like the Fantom's got 16 layers, where the MC101 has the 4 tracks. So it's a different way of doing it. But those basic Zen Core sounds you can share. So I can create and share it with my friend that's got a Zen Core compatible instrument.
Wow. Yeah. That's technology. It's just
very
amazing
cool.
now, isn't it?
It's very cool. And that also lives inside the Zenology plugin in Roland Cloud as well too. So that can be, you can design a sound in your Zenology plugin in your DAW and then put it into Fantom and backwards and forwards as well.
It's fantastic.
It is very cool.
So just to round up a little bit, what would you say your main points on this particular keyboard? I know we sort of said a little bit at the beginning there, but just to round up a little bit, like we're happy to take some questions online or something like that later on, or through the Facebook site or through our chat line. If you need to, you're certainly welcome to ask us some questions, and we'll get back to you and let you know what's happening. But yeah, what would you say as a final thing? What would you say would be the best features on this particular keys?
The best features, that's really hard to
whittle
down. It's really hard to whittle down, but I mean...
Whittle down, 40 years worth of...
I really need 2 hours in these 3 minutes to squeeze it all in, but the fact that it has so many different attributes, so many great engines, and integration, I would say, like Mainstage and Logic, for example, has the best integration available anywhere bar none, because you can hook up Mainstage or Logic, for example, and Logic will come up on your screen. You'll see the mixer, you can see the transport, you can set your loops, you can actually add audio and MIDI tracks onto Logic from here. You've got 16 stereo tracks being transmitted from Fantom into Logic, and then back 3 stereo tracks back. So
That's
you can
incredible.
be completely mixing things. You can be in a live scenario, you can be controlling tracks, like say there's backing vocals from Logic, sending a click track to the drummer from here, controlling Logic and all of your synth sounds, editing sounds on the fly with your synth, all that sort of thing. And of course for creating music as well,
Yeah.
it has that same
That's great.
amazing
I
ability.
know as an MD, I do a lot of MD work, and I know having computers on your side, having keys on this side, keys in front, and trying to MD at the same time, having it all in front of you, being able to touch it like that and just go through it really quickly is awesome. So I think Roland's done a really good job on this. The Fantom, it's always been Roland's always been a leader in the industry, and they've just done some amazing things. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up there. So once again, thanks very much, Mark, for coming up and having a chat about this. We're going to have a talk about the Jupiter X very shortly. So yeah, stay tuned. Don't forget to come and look us up on mooloolabamusic.com.au. And yeah, we're happy to have a chat to you about it. Cheers.
Thank you.